Shalom. I like to give all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahshai, by Hashem HaKadosh, the bones to the Apostle Jim, Master Great Millstone, Satis, Shalom, blessed to the elect. All right. Now there's an article going into the corn. How the corn right now in the U.S. is being destroyed. All right, due to these floodings in the Midwest. All right. It says Farmageddon looms. Only 30% of U.S. cornfields have been planted. 5-year average is 66%. 2019 is turning out to be a nightmare that never ends for the agriculture industry. Thanks to endless rain and unprecedented flooding, fields all over the middle part of the country are absolutely soaked right now. And this has prevented many farmers from getting their crops in the ground. I knew that this was a problem. But when I heard that only 30% of U.S. cornfields have been planted as of Sunday, I had a really hard time believing it. But it turns out that number is 100% accurate. And at this point, corn farmers are up against a wall because crop insurance final planting dates have either already passed or are coming up very quickly. In addition, for every day after May 15th, that corn is not in the ground, farmers lose approximately 2% of their yield. Unfortunately, more rain is on the way, and it looks like thousands of corn farmers will not be able to plant corn at all this year. It is no exaggeration to say that what we are facing is a true national catastrophe. All right. U.S. farmers ceded 30%. Well, let me read them. But it says, according to the Department of Agriculture, over the past 5 years, an average of 66% of all corn fields were already planted by now. U.S. farmers ceded 30% of the U.S. 2019 corn crop by Sunday. That's a very low percentage, okay? The government said lagging the 5-year average of 66, the soybean crop was 9% planted behind the 5-year average of 29%. Soybean farmers have more time to recover, but they are facing a unique problem of their own, which we will talk about later in the article. But first, let's take a look at the corn planting numbers from some of our most important corn producing states. I think that you will agree that these numbers are almost too crazy to believe. It says Iowa 48% planted, 5-year average 76%. Minnesota 21% planted, 5-year average 65%. North Dakota 11% planted, 5-year average 43%. South Dakota 4% planted, 5-year average 54%. Can you imagine that this is going to do to food prices? All right. Many farmers are extremely eager to plant crops, but the wet conditions have made it impossible. The following comes from the ABC 7 Chicago. McNeil grows corn and soybeans on more than 500 acres in Grays Lake, but much of his farmland is underwater right now. And his farmland and all of it is too wet to plant. Rain is a farmer's friend in the summer, but in the spring, too much rain keeps farmers from planting. The usually wet spring has affected farmers throughout the Midwest, but Illinois has been especially hard hit. Experts say with the soil so wet, heavy and cold, it takes the air out of the washes nutrients away, making it difficult, if not impossible, for seeds to take root. Right now, soil moisture levels of the state of Illinois are in the 90th to the 99th percentile statewide. And that makes it impossible to really grow, because you'll drown the seed, In other words, the entire state is completely and utterly drenched. As a result, very few Illinois farmers have been able to get corn or soybeans in the ground at this point. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Crops Progress reports about 11% of Illinois corn has been planted and about 4% of soybeans. Last year at this time, 88% of corn and 56% of soybeans were in the ground. I would use the word catastrophe to describe that what Illinois farmers are facing, but the truth is that what they are going through is far beyond that. Normally, if corn farmers have a problem getting corn in the ground, then they just switch to soybeans instead. But thanks to the trade war, hey, soybeans exports plummeted dramatically, and the price of soybeans is the lowest that it has been in a decade. You see, and the Lord is using Trump, to put on these tariffs on these nations, man. All right. So the Lord is using Trump, to see. Wow, the Lord is smart. He's using Trump, all right, to cause a famine, all right. If you say a food, coming into the U.S., all right. And on top of that, he's using the rain, all right. So there's a reason why the Most High put Trump in office, all right, because he's gonna help. He's helping right now with the Most High's will, all right, which is causing plagues on Egypt, man, all right, with these trade wars, all right. Normally, if corn farmers have a problem getting corn in the ground, as a result, there is very little profit, if any, in growing soybeans this year. Farmers in many parts of the Corn Belt have suffered from a wet and cooler spring, which has prevented them from planting corn. Typically, when it becomes too late to plant corn, farmers will instead plant soybeans, which can grow later into the fall before harvest is required. Yet now, planting soybeans with the overabundance already in bins and scant hope for sales to one of the biggest buyers in China could raise the risk of a financial disaster. And if the wet conditions persist, many soybean farmers are not going to be able to plant crops all this year. So the Most High is using nature and he's using Trump at the same time, man, to cause famine on Egypt, because the Lord promised a famine to come to Egypt again. All right, and I'll bring out the scripture. All right. Sadly, global warm weather patterns are continuing to go haywire, and much more rain is coming to the middle of the country starting on Friday. Any hopes of getting corn and soybean planted back on track in the U.S. may be washed away starting Friday, as a pair of storms threaten to deliver a 1-2 punch of soaking rain and tornadoes across the Great Plains and Midwest throughout next week. As much as 3 to 5 inches, 8 to 13 centimeters of rain will soak soils from South Dakota and Minnesota south to Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, according to the U.S. Weather Prediction Center in College Park, Maryland. We have never had a year quite like this before, and U.S. food production is going to be substantially below expectations. Wow, the Most High is plaguing Egypt, man, all right? Which Egypt is America, spiritually Egypt, all right? I very much encourage everyone to get prepared for much higher food prices and a tremendous amount of uncertainty in the months ahead, all right? You see, higher food prices are tremendous amount of uncertain in months ahead. Well, let me read that again. I very much encourage everyone to get prepared for much higher food prices and a tremendous amount of uncertainty in the months ahead. All right. So this is no joke, People might take this lightly, but this is no joke. All right. The Most High is plaguing Egypt, all right, plaguing America, all right. Even though I have been regularly documenting the nightmarish agriculture conditions in the middle of the country, the numbers in this article are much worse than I thought they would be at this point in 2019. This is truly a major national crisis, and it is just getting started. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, say the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. for wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth. Their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me. All right, and that's the Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And the souls of the just complain continually. But really, that's the elect, okay? Therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. All right? Because the way you white people got this land, all right, was through slaughter, all right? So the Lord require him that sheddeth blood, all right, that shed the blood, all right, to get this land, which is you so-called white people, which is you Edomites. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. All right. My people, that's the key word. Who's the Lord's people? The Israelites. Not all nations, not everybody. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretch out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before. All right, so this is not talk about ancient Egypt. This is talk about the new Egypt. All right, and a proof of that. All right, you could all right, how do we know that this is talking about America? Hey, look at that. I had it right here already. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. The only people who have that occurrence in history is you Negroes, all right? The so-called black people, all right? The Lord said, I will bring thee into Egypt again. This is not talk about ancient Egypt, because ancient Egypt was destroyed by the Lord. The Lord already destroyed it. This is talk about a new Egypt, all right, which Egypt means bondage, all right? Mizraim, which is the real name, the so-called white man named Egypt, all right? Again with ships. Who came on cargo slave ships? The only people who have that history is you Negroes, all right, which proves that you're the Israelites, not the so-called Jews, all right? They're none but Edomites. So-called white people impersonating our nationality, all right? And the Lord is going to make them pay, all right? Because the Lord ain't stupid. You can't trick the Most High. You could trick the man, but you're not going to trick the Most High. That's how stupid you are, Esau, all right? You really think you're going to trick the Most High, all right? But I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretch out arm and smite Egypt with plagues. And that's what the Lord is doing right now. All right, he's smiting Egypt, which is America, with plagues. All right, and the two plagues that he's using is the rain, and he's using Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a plague that the Most High is using. Why? Because he's putting all these tariffs on these nations, man. All right, and he's making it impossible, to trade. All right, with all these trade wars. All right. So Trump is a blessing in disguise, So the Lord is using two weapons. He's using the rain, the actual rain, to flood these yields, and he's using Donald Trump. All right. Nobody's gonna want to trade with America, which America gets some soybeans, as you read, and other stuff from these countries, man. All right, other crops. The Lord said he's going to plague Egypt again. And Egypt is America today, spiritual Egypt. All right, when you look at your dollar bill, what do you see in the back? A pyramid, which shows you this is Egypt. You got cities like Philadelphia, Phoenix, Memphis, all right, which were cities back in Egypt, all right? You got obelisk down there in D.C., all right, which is a giant penis, all right? Because them Cushites, them Hamites, all right, they worship that shit, man. The act of sex, they worship dicks and pussy, all right? All that shit goes back to them Cushites, man. Them Hamites, man. The people of Ham, all right? That's where the Christmas tree is a giant penis, all right? Nimrod's penis, all right? And I believe the wrath on the door, whatever you call that, is a pussy, man. Is a vagina, all right? And what America celebrates all that shit, man. So that's how you know America's Egypt, man. Spiritual Egypt, the new Egypt, all right? That the Lord promised that he was going to send you Negroes on cargo slave ships, all right? Again, all right? And I will destroy all the land thereof. The Lord's going to destroy it with the thermonuclear missiles, all right? Egypt shall mourn, and the foundations of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. And that plague is ultimately the ICBM missiles, all right? But the Lord said he's going to plague Egypt with plagues, all right? Before the big plague, which is the missiles. And what's the plagues? The rain, Donald Trump, all right? Might send locusts, all right? These diseases, all right? The Lord is moving on America, man. All right, America's time is up. All right, and the Lord is doing this for you, for His people, for you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, you Israelites. All right, the Lord sees your suffering. All right, but the reason why we suffering because the Most High is punishing us. All right, for what we did, man, in our past lives, our forefathers, which we are our forefathers, coming back in the reincarnation. All right, the Lord is doing. He's smiting America with these plagues for His people, man. All right, until the Most High completely annihilates this place with the missiles, man. All right, because the Bible does talk about the missiles. All right, the Lord is doing little things, but they're big, really. They're not little, they're big. All right, because they're affecting only 30% of America's crop has been planted, and that's a very low percentage, man, compared to how many people are in America. All right, and the trades that America does with these other countries. All right, now that Donald Trump is putting on these tariffs, it's making it impossible. All right, to get crops from other nations. All right, to trade and stuff. All right, putting tariffs on these nations, and they getting mad. All right, because Donald Trump, man, look, Donald Trump is a blessing in disguise. All right, and America's not gonna be great again. All right, America had its time. Now America's gonna go down like all the other empires in history went down. All right, America is up. America's time is up. It's over. All right, Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right, but with that, I like to give all praises to Yahweh by Shemi Shai, by Hashim Kakudash, the bonds to the apostle GMS of Great Millstone. Salutations, shalom, blessed to the elect. Shalom.